Hey, Ed, we got to get started. You can schmooze later. That's okay. I'll forgive you this time.
It's the new year.
That's right. We got a new year coming. Good afternoon. Before we get started, could I make sure everybody turns their cell phones off or on vibrate or something, please? Thank you. Where's my little cheat sheet? Okay. The city desires to accommodate persons with disabilities accordingly. Any physically handicapped person pursuant to Chapter 286.26 Florida statutes should at least 48 hours prior to the meeting submit a written request to the chairperson that the physically handicapped person desires to attend the meeting. Any person who decides to appeal any decision of the Code Enforcement Board with respect to any matter considered at this meeting will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purposes may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. Any person or defendant who requests to review or object to any exhibits presented to the Code Enforcement Board by the City of Titusville prior to submission to the Code Enforcement Board must stand and state their request to review the exhibits prior to review by the Board at the time their case or agenda item comes before the Board for hearing. Any person found to be in violation of the City of Titusville's Code of Ordinances and given a time frame in which to comply shall, upon compliance, be responsible for contacting the Code Enforcement Supervisor for an inspection to verify said compliance. The violation will not be considered to be in compliance until the Code Enforcement Supervisor is notified and verifies compliance. We have a quorum. Ashley is out. She did have her baby, a baby girl. I'm not sure when. Do we know for sure? The 31st, or the 1st? Somewhere in that vicinity. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Mr. Rogers, would you like to swear in the staff, please? And I'll get him. You're going to do him and Mr. Norm now?
I'll do him now. If
Okay.
That's okay.
All right. And we have a new alternate, Norm Herman, and he's going to be sworn in at the same time.
Norm, do you swear or affirm that as a member or alternate member of the Titusville Municipal Code Enforcement Board that you will enforce and uphold the ordinances of the City of Titusville and the laws and statutes of the state of Florida?
I do.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Have a seat, sir. Okay. Now the staff. You swear in the staff, Mr. Rogers?
No. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give before the board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. We have to approve minutes from last month, from November as well as last month. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Any corrections, additions, changes? All right, I need a
motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Richardson, second by Gina. All approved? Or roll call vote, please.
Member Ozon?
Yes.
Member Richardson?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Member Moniz?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes. Motion approved. All right. Ms. Chelsea, would you like to get started?
We got another set to approve from December.
We did them both at the same time.
We did both?
We just did them
Okay.
both.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you,
Welcome
too.
back. Thank you. Chugging along into old business, the first case on your agenda is number 17-178 for the property located at 4400 Hickory Hill Boulevard. The city wishes to withdraw this case as it is in compliance. Next case number 17-180 for the property located at 3135 South Casper Place. This case was previously presented to you at your December Code Enforcement Board hearing, and the case was ordered to be corrected by January 8th, 2018, and this case is in compliance. The city wishes to close this matter.
Mr. Chair, we need an order finding compliance in that the defendants were found in violation and given until the 8th of this month to correct.
Okay. So I need a motion, please, for case number 17-180, to show that they're in compliance.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, motion by Gina, second by Mr. Richardson, that compliance is in for case number 17-180. Any questions? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Richardson?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Member Monis?
Now.
Yes.
Member Ozon?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes, motion carried. Next case, please.
The next case on your agenda, number 17-190, is for the property located at 421 Canaveral Avenue. This case was previously continued, and the city wishes to withdraw this case as it is in compliance.
Okay, I need a motion to show case number 17-190 in compliance.
No motion is necessary for
Oh,
this matter. That
okay.
was previously continued.
Okay, thank you.
This one is basically treated as new business, same as the next one, case number 17-193 for the property located at 2411 and 2413 Talmadge Drive. Again, the city wishes to withdraw this previously continued matter as it is now in compliance.
Great, thanks. Keep on going.
For case number 17-198, the property located at 580 Sunrise Drive was ordered to correct the violation of overgrowth by today, January 8th, 2018, and the city wishes to close this case as it is now in compliance. We'll need a motion to that effect.
I need a motion for case number 17-198.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ed, second by Sandra. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Member Monis?
Yes.
Member Ozon? Member Richardson?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes. Motion carried. Next case.
The next case on your agenda is number 17-210 for the property located at 4465 Mount Vernon Avenue. Before we get into this case, I'd like to withdraw 4 of the listed violations that are under Section 28, Chapter 28 of your code, and leaving 1 remaining. The 6-56 permit required is the only violation that the city is proceeding with under case number 17-210. Again, the city is withdrawing Section 28-392C. City's withdrawing Section 28-392D. City's withdrawing Section 28-392F, and the city's withdrawing Section 28-392I. And I will get into this case with Officer Crisco here. Officer Crisco, did you have an opportunity to inspect the premises at 4465 Mount Vernon Ave?
Yes, the original inspection was July 26th of 2017.
And did you find this property in violation of the Titusville Code of Ordinances?
Yes.
And what was the nature of the violation?
At that point, it was 656 permit required.
Did you provide notice of the violation to the owner of record by first class and certified mail, as well as posting the same on the property and at City Hall?
Yes.
Do you have the proof of mailing and an affidavit attesting to the notice?
Yes.
Please submit the proof of mailing and affidavit as to notice into evidence as Exhibit Number 1. And did you re-inspect the premises to determine if the property was in compliance with the violations as cited?
Yes, a couple times. Follow-up was done on 8/4, 8/7, all the way down the line.
So the board still doesn't know what the issue is. What did you see when you first did your inspection that requires a permit? Do you have any photographs of your initial or subsequent inspections that we can show the board what's going on here?
Initially, during my travels, I had noticed on Route 1 on Washington Avenue,
Overhead?
a gazebo type structure over 120 square feet. Any structure over 120 square feet needs a permit. The bottom line for that there one. This is on the riverside. If you can see that, it's right there on the riverside.
What's right there?
The gazebo.
Thank you.
It belongs to the 4465 Mount Vernon, which is highlighted in red. It's their property.
Do you have any other photographs that you wish to display?
No, that's it.
Please submit the 2 photographs into evidence as exhibit number 2. City code requirements is that any structure that's over 120 square feet as an accessory structure does require a building permit. The owner may get into discussion regarding the placement of this structure, but the code requirement is simply that if you do not have a permit, you may not construct something over that square footage. And this figure, or this structure that has been constructed on the property, the owner tells me is 160 square feet. So there's no question regarding whether or not this thing is over 120 square feet, which would require a building permit. That's the only question that's here before you today, is whether or not this owner has a building permit for the gazebo that he's put on his property. The discussion of where it's been placed is not important to your discussion or your decision regarding whether or not there is a building permit in place. So Officer Crisco, based upon your inspections, did you file a complaint?
Yes.
Did you issue a copy of the complaint and a notice of this hearing to the owner of record by first-class certified mail, posting the same on the property and at City Hall?
Yes.
Do you have an affidavit as to this notice?
Yes.
Please place the proof of notice and affidavit into evidence as exhibit number 3. And Officer Crisco, did you re-inspect the property prior to today's hearing?
Yes, this morning it was still there. I just wanted to highlight on one point. I've been dealing with the property owner a couple of times, several times actually. A permit application was applied August 23rd applied for. However, it was never paid. He can shed, Mr. Locke, the owner, could shed light on that. So that's why we're here on the permit basis that there was none in cost and recovery, I guess.
When did you say it was applied for?
I'm sorry, August 22nd of 2017, the application.
We'll say application number 1 was submitted in August of 2017, and I'd like to add that there's a application number 2, we'll call it for the purposes of this discussion, that was submitted on Friday last week by Mr. Locke, who is in the audience. I'm going to turn the podium over to him in just a moment. And this second application is regarding a dock where the gazebo may be moved onto the dock. And although that may be a viable solution for this property, until the gazebo is moved or gets a permit, this property will still be in violation of not having a permit for the item that was constructed without having a permit. And does the board have any questions of staff before I allow the owner to present his side of the story to you guys?
I have a question for you, and,
Yes.
and it may be just, I just don't know because I'm not a construction person. The gazebo's built and it's sitting there. If he gets the permit, he has to show the permit now, pay for the permit, and show it now, and it stays with the gazebo.
Does he have to show what, I'm sorry?
The permit.
The permit that would be issued, the city code requirements are that if an owner wants to construct something, you come to the city and you apply for a permit before you do the work, and then you get your permit in hand that says the parameters of what the work is that you are allowed to do. That did not happen here. The work was constructed without having a permit in hand. he would be ordered to pay a 25% penalty of the cost of the permit before the permit would be issued.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
costs of obtaining that permit must be paid before obtaining that permit.
And
I
then
think
he'd get the
that-
permit, and then does he have to show put the permit on the structure, or he can keep it at home?
I believe that the permit must be affixed to the structure, but that is not part of what you're looking at today. It's just
Yeah.
whether or not the permit has been issued.
Okay.
And permit number 2 is for the
The application
proposed-
that he submitted,
For
For
that,
proposed dock, right?
proposed dock, yes. That is where the gazebo may be proposed to be relocated to.
And then there would be no violation if the gazebo was moved to
Except for the
If
permit.
if the gazebo is removed from its current location
To the
and
dock.
under a permit, then this issue would be gone, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you so much.
After the fact.
Officer Crisco reminded me that he has a cost recovery statement detailing the cost incurred in bringing this case before the board. Do you have that with you, Officer Crisco?
Yes,
And what is the amount?
$428.49.
Please submit the cost recovery statement into evidence as exhibit number 4.
If you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your full name for the record, sir, is Henry C. Locke Jr.,
Yes, sir.
and you're a trustee of the Locke Family Revocable Living Trust,
Yes, I am.
and that is the record owner of the property that we're discussing. correct?
Yes, sir.
Please direct your comments regarding the city's accusations against you and your property directly to the board.
Okay. First off, I did not construct the gazebo. It was a pre-manufactured product that I purchased. So it is definitely movable. First of all, I did not understand that you need a permit to put a gazebo or boathouse, whatever we want to call it today, on your property. That was my mistake for not knowing that. But when I was approached by the code enforcement, I went to the city to pull a permit, and the city was very confused about exactly what was allowed and what was not allowed on the property. There was a lot of back and forth discussion at the building department as to what would be allowed, because I guess this is a new zoning that is over on that side of the property, which is a different zoning than my house is, which is on the other side of US 1, which I did not realize either. So I was trying to pull the permit. Like I said, we went back and forth with the city, back many, many discussions. They could not figure out. One person said it was allowed. Another person said it was not allowed. One person said it was an accessory structure. The other person said if it's across the street, it can't be an accessory structure. So we went back and forth. Then they were supposed to send me some paperwork to draw exactly where the gazebo boathouse was. First off, they told me it can't be a gazebo, but you're allowed to have a boathouse. And I said, well, I'm going to have it to store my boating goods anyway, so we'll call it a boathouse. So it went back and forth. They never sent me the paperwork, which I should have followed up on that. But then after that, you guys issued the summons saying, well, first off, I talked to Mr. Cisco or Crisco, I'm sorry, Bob, in reference to, having time. And I told him I was pulling a permit. And he said, okay, well, as far as I'm concerned, this matter is, put to the side until you find out what's going on with the permit. So I thought that was until the city figured out what they were going to do with the permit, I had time. Well, then I received a notice that we were having a hearing for the gazebo boathouse to be moved. So from there, my wife was ill and I had to go for her to have surgery over in Gainesville. I called up Bob, and it was before the last meeting, and I told Bob that I was having the gazebo moved, that we wouldn't have to worry about it. I was going to move it from there to another location, have it stored until I could get the permits pulled. He told me, suggested, not specifically told me what to do, but he said, why don't you just leave it there and we'll do a continuance to give you time to get permitting. And I said, okay. He said, go ahead and leave it there until, we figure out what's going to go on the permits. So I went back and forth again with the city on permits. They finally made a determination that I could not have any type of structure over there as an accessory structure. So they told me that my best way to resolve this, because I want to use my property, they said the best way to resolve this was to build a dock. So the city gave me the information on how to obtain the permitting to build a dock. So I contacted the Department of Environmental Protection to get the ball rolling on pulling permits for a dock. That was just before Christmas. So I did not get the information back from them because they went on vacation until last Monday. They reviewed it. They said that there's no problem with me putting a dock there. They also said there was no problem with there being a covered area on the dock, that this could be put on the dock and used as a gazebo or boathouse on the property. So I started pulling that. I went down. I pulled put in the applications for the permit, and going under the assumption, maybe false, assumption that I was still waiting for, as I talked with Bob about getting the permits to be able to resolve this issue. And that's why the gazebo is not moved from where it is, because from what I understand, I don't have the permit yet, but from what I understand, there's no problem with the city with me getting the permit for the dock and me putting it up and moving this onto there. Now, if I can't get time to put the dock up, which won't take that long, if you guys want the gazebo moved for me to have that extra expense to move it from where it is someplace else and then have it moved back, then I will do that. I don't want to be out of compliance. I've been trying to work with the city. I've been trying to pull the permits that have been requested. So actually, I asked for some lenience to be able to finish the permit process and put the gazebo there without having the extra expense of having it moved and brought back.
Mr. Locke?
Yes, sir.
About how long would it take you for the permits?
Well, from what I understand, they said that there was no problem at all with the permit from the city of Titusville. I've already got the Department of Environmental Protection permit. I got that. I went to them on Monday when they got back, and I already got the permit from them.
So what are we looking at? 30, next month?
I could have it done. I could say I could have it done and moved off that property onto the dock by next month.
Okay. I'll have no problem.
So it was not your original intention to build a dock?
No, sir. I want to use my property. That's the whole thing. I've owned the property for years. We just want to be able to go over there, sit and relax. I've got paddle boats, stand-up paddle boards. I don't want to have to carry them from my house over to the property.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Locke, how do I know you?
I did glass work for you, sir. I own Coastal Window.
Okay.
I've been in Titusville all my life.
I just want to let you know that I know the gentleman. We hired his company to do the glass work inside of my house. I have no problem with voting against him or anything like that. But I was just trying to figure out how I knew him. And it's one of those things where you only know him when you need him. Okay, thank you.
No problem. So I don't want any problems with the city. That's not my intentions. I'm just trying to use my property. Like I said, I would have moved it last month, like I told Mr. And I'm not blaming him for me not moving it at all. I'm just going by what he told me to wait until I had the permit to not move it until then, and
So, sir, you think you can have a dock?
I can have the
established?
I can have the first parts of it. The gazebo is only going to be 15 foot off of the shoreline.
It's gonna be right at the end, so, yeah, he's got this.
Yeah, I understand.
first
I'm just wondering how you could have it done within a month. I don't know what it takes
Well,
to build a dock, so.
to be able to put the actual gazebo out there, I'm only going out 15 foot, so I'd have to set, 12 pylons and build that. I mean, I do construction for a living. That's,
All right.
and I'm going to do the work myself, so I'm not waiting for somebody to schedule. It's private property, and
Mr. Chairman, I have no problem making a motion on this to continue this for 1 month until the next meeting and let him go back to
Well,
his.
you wanna,
And if I can't have it moved by then, it'll be gone. I will have it off of there, and with no
Tell
problem
the
with
truth,
the
I
city.
thought that was city property, so I'm
Well,
learning something today
No,
myself.
and unfortunately, the city treats it like it's their property most of the time. I've had problems with the city coming out and mowing it, even though we mow it, and trimming my trees, even though we trim them. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
can you tell us what the ordinance is for that side of US 1, the Riverside? What the ordinance
The
is?
zoning,
Yeah.
I would presume that it's shoreline mixed use, and there's a shoreline mixed use overlay that does talk about the breezeway and what things can be put in that area, but I don't have that code in front of me. Is there a particular question you want?
No, I just wondered, who decides what goes over there and what's not, and where is city property and where is private property?
Well, the property ownership is determined by who owns the property itself, and the city has tried to acquire as much of the riverfront as possible in order to develop its parks and things
Right.
like that for the preservation of the citizens, but there's definitely probably a majority that's privately owned, and I would have to apologize on the record for the city going on to private property and doing any trimming or maintenance work that we should not have been doing on property that's not
Well,
owned
that's
by us.
outsourced
but
stuff too, and they probably have no idea anyway.
I know that there's also strips of property along the riverfront that's owned by the county, and there's been mistakes about who owns what parcels, and it's just a matter of identifying on the survey who owns what land, and that has nothing to do with zoning. That's just about identification of ownership.
Another thing that's very confusing, if you look at the ordinance that was passed that changed that zoning, there's a statement at the very beginning of that ordinance that says, I guess it's like a mission statement or whatever of what you're wanting this ordinance for. And the very first thing that it says in there, it says the whole reason for this ordinance being passed is to promote the private use of the riverfront by the owners, by allowing boathouses and water docks. And when I ask for a boathouse, they say it's not allowed. But in the very beginning statement, it says the whole reason for this ordinance is to allow boathouses. So to me, I'm wondering, how come, if that's the whole reason for the ordinance, somebody who applies for a boathouse permit can't get it? To me, that makes no sense.
What does that go under, Chelsea? Planning? Or,
And planning said they had no idea. And this is what I've been fighting since the start of it.
I have a question. Is there a reason why no one from that department is here to testify or to give any answer questions or
I
anything?
have to apologize. I requested their presence, and I cannot explain why the individual is not here behind me.
Which department was it?
The building department.
I was going to see if I could find that statement because it's very confusing. And when I read on there, it says, no, there are no setbacks required for a boathouse. No setbacks at all in that ordinance. And yet they said to me, you can't have a boathouse.
Sir, do you know what ordinance you're talking
I'm
about?
talking about the zoning. The zoning. What is the number of the zoning that I have? I'll find it here. Let me see here.
Apparently, you've done your research on this.
I've tried. But it's just like it is for the building department, it's very confusing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and the city or the county had a roof structure that got wiped out by the hurricane, but there was one
And they're getting put up
100 yards
more.
from where you want.
And I asked about that, and they told me what the city does and what you can do are two different things.
Should not be.
That was their
Should be.
answer. I'm just telling you what they told me, because I've questioned this myself, and I'm not trying to raise Cain, but if I don't understand something and I'm asking them questions and they don't understand it either.
But you shouldn't give testimony on behalf of what the city is saying. The city needs to speak on behalf
I
of
can
themselves.
testify as to what I was told. That doesn't mean they can
But
testify
that's still
saying something
hearsay.
else.
But that's hearsay.
But it's allowable in this proceeding. We have relaxed rules of evidence.
Let's see here. If we can pull that up, it's right at the very top of the ordinance of that zoning. And that is this statement it says. The whole reason for this zoning, for the request of this zoning, and that was to get people to vote for that zoning. You know, they sent out a statement. This is what it's going to do. This is what we're wanting it to have. So they get people to vote for this, saying this is what we're promoting. And then when you try and use it for that purpose, they don't allow you to. I can probably find it on
So basically, your original intent for putting the gazebo there was just so you could set out and enjoy the river.
enjoy my property.
The dock.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's what I bought the property for. That's why that's why I live here, because I love the view. I love the riverfront, and we want to use it. You know, and the city has tried to buy our property.
The city is what?
Tried to buy our property.
Oh, okay.
And then when we wouldn't sell it, they told us they were going to do eminent domain. This is a few years ago. But they did tell us that if we didn't sell it to them for the price they offered, they were going to do eminent domain.
Mr. Chairman?
Is this gentleman, are you from the building department?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Rogers, you want to swear him in, please?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir. Please state your full name, sir. Approach the podium and the microphone and answer some questions.
You want me to sit down? Thank you.
My name's William Ballington. I'm the building plans manager of the building department.
This application is regarding a dock that was submitted last week for the property located at 4465 Mount Vernon Avenue. There was previously submitted an application by the owner of the property regarding a gazebo that was placed on the upland portion of the property. Are you familiar with the application that was previously submitted in August 2017?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with the reasons why that application was denied and did not proceed by the city of Titusville?
Yes. That particular, Mr. Locke's property is kind of, different. It's two different zoning districts. His property where his house is at is one zoning district. The property that's meets up with the river is another zoning district. That's why he can't have that accessory structure on land.
Do you know what the zoning district is that is east of US 1?
No, not off the top of my head. I do not recall.
Do you believe that it's the shoreline mixed-use overlay that requires?
Yes, SMU. Yeah, that rings a bell.
Okay. So in the shoreline mixed-use, are there certain requirements about the percentage of the, is it a requirement that the structure must be on the same parcel or lot that the principal structure is? Is that the reason why this is a prohibited use?
I believe it's more, and it's been a while since I dealt with the application, so it's been a while since I read everything, but you can't have an accessory structure without having a principal structure. I know he has a principal structure and it's one piece of property, but because that's two different zoning districts and there's no way he can have a principal structure on that part of his property because it's not big enough, you couldn't meet any kind of setbacks. That's why he can't have that accessory structure there.
So the way that our zoning code is created and designed is to have a particular zoning category that allows particular uses within that zoning category. And in the shoreline mixed use zoning category, there's no possible way that you could have an accessory structure without the principal structure that it being accessory to. And so for that interpretation of the code, the planning staff saw that there was a structure that did not have a principal structure that it was affiliated with. And upon further review, the owner of the property has submitted a subsequent application. Have you reviewed the plans for the dock that was submitted more recently?
No, ma'am, I have not
Okay.
reviewed those yet.
So we haven't had an opportunity yet to review the plans that were submitted last week. You heard the owner testify regarding a dock that's going to be constructed potentially once the city issues the building permit. Paul, in your experience working for the city, do you have any idea how long it may take for the city to review plans for a dock?
I will probably have it done before the end of the day tomorrow.
Okay. So do you have any comment on whether a gazebo, a covered structure, may be used as a portion of a dock?
Yes, he could do that, yes.
Okay. Would the hypothetical 160 square foot gazebo that is currently located on the upland portion of the property, do you think that can be relocated onto a dock that would be over the water?
Yes, yeah, he could do that.
And once that gazebo is relocated, the property would no longer be in violation of not having a permit because the city would have issued the permit for that structure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Does the board have any questions of staff that we can answer?
I have a question. Does the dock have to be a certain length before he can put the structure on there?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Does it have to be completed before we can put the structure on there?
No, he can do it all at one time, you know, as he's building his dock, because I'm sure he'll have to set piles to put his gazebo on that as well, so.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And are you saying that you can't, that he would not be able to build anything? He would not be able to build anything on that property?
Pretty much on that portion of his property, yes. I mean, he can have his dock. You know, there's a section of the code that allows that, even though it's a different zoning district. But as far as, you know, any kind of building on that property, he couldn't do. It's just too small because it's too, you know, he wouldn't meet any kind of setbacks. I understand it's convoluting, and I'm not saying I disagree with it or agree with it, but it is what it is. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Ed, you had a question?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions for Mr. Locke? Okay, what do y'all want to do?
Okay,
Take it out.
yeah, my mic is on. I'd like to make a motion to continue case 17-210 until our next scheduled meeting on February the 8th, 2018. Is it the 12th?
Yeah.
12.
Motion by Ed.
Oh, I'm sorry, February the 12th. I got
All
it
right.
written down wrong.
Second.
Second by, okay, motion by Ed, second by RL. Any questions?
I have one more question of Mr. Locke.
Yes, sir.
You're confident that you can meet the requirements by February the 12th?
As long as I get the permit issued, and if I don't get that and I don't have it done, I will have the gazebo off the property. I guarantee that.
Do you want to amend that for 2 months?
60 days.
Sure, certainly. We can amend that
Thank
until
you.
our next scheduled meeting in March, and that is the same date,
Yeah.
March
So
the
amended.
12th.
All right. Second? Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion by Ed with an amended date of 3/12/18. Second by Joe. Any questions, concerns? Roll call vote, please.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Here. Yes.
Member Monis?
Yes.
Member Ozon?
Yes.
Member Richardson?
Yes.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes, motion carried. So, Mr. Locke, you'll be hearing from Mr. Rogers, our attorney. You have 2 months, 60 days. So hopefully within that time, you'll get your permits and everything will be going.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if you have any questions, let Mr. Crisco know what's going on.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I didn't recognize you.
That's okay. I appreciate y'all listening and understanding.
Mr. Locke, one more comment. You'll receive a written decision of the board in about 10 days to 2 weeks that the case is continued for 2 months. If by chance some extenuating circumstances occur in your life such that you cannot comply with the alleged code violation, contact Mr. Crisco and let him know of your extenuating circumstances. And unless he says otherwise, you would need to appear before the board on March 12th to explain to the board what happened, why you couldn't finish it. Things happen sometimes. So if it does, let us know.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Very much. You all have a wonderful day.
You
You
too.
too. Thank you, sir. Next case.
Thank you very much.
The next case on your agenda is number 17-211 for the property located at 4850 Walton Avenue. This case was previously continued, and the city wishes to withdraw this case due to compliance. Moving into new business. The first case on your agenda under new business is case number 18-01. The city wishes to continue this matter for 1 month until your next scheduled board meeting.
Need a motion on that?
So
Need a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Can you tell us?
Motion by Ed, second by Joe for case number 1801 to continue until next month. Any questions?
Can you tell us why it's been continued?
I've been told that there is progress working with the property manager for this property.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Member Monis?
Here, yes.
Member Ozon?
Yes.
Member Richardson?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Try and do that.
The first one was Member Monis, sorry.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes. Motion carried. Next one, please, Chelsea.
Case number 18-03 is for the property located at 4425 Stewart Avenue. The city wishes to withdraw this case due to compliance. Next, we have case number 18-04 for the property located at 5506 Andrea Street. And I would like to invite Officer Crisco up to provide testimony regarding this case. Officer Crisco, did you have an opportunity to inspect the premises at 5506 Andrea Street?
Yes, on September 5th, 2017.
And did you find this property in violation of the Titusville Code of Ordinances?
Yes, I did, but not until September 26th.
What was the nature of the violation?
Originally, it was 656 permit required and 1328 dead trees.
Did you provide notice of the violations to the owner of record by first class and certified mail, as well as posting the same on the property and at City Hall?
Yes,
Do you have the proof of mailing and an affidavit attesting to the notice?
yes.
Please submit the proof of mailing and affidavit as to notice into evidence as exhibit number 1.
It should be permit required fence. I want to confuse matters.
Did you reinspect the premises to determine if the property was in compliance with the violations as cited?
Yes,
When?
a couple times, October 24th, et cetera. Upon posting on Code Board, which was December 18th, I did meet with the tenant, and I explained the violation to the tenant, who put me in connection on the phone with the owner. Actually, I spoke with the owner on 2 occasions.
When?
The first time was October 24th. I spoke with the owner on the phone and the contractor at the property about correcting the violations. And I kind of put it on a temporary hold till date. And then the second time I talked with him and the tenant, we still have no permit.
Did you take any pictures?
Yes, I have a picture of a fence, I believe. Yes, I do.
Can we see it?
Yes.
On the overhead, please.
That's the new fence looking from Little League, looking south. And also this is on Sisson, looking south, on the corner of Little League and Sisson.
Thank you. When were these photographs taken?
This morning.
Can you please submit the photographs into the record as evidence in exhibit number 2? Based upon your inspections, did you file a complaint?
Yes,
Did you issue a copy of the complaint and a notice of this hearing to the owner of record by first-class certified mail posting the same on the property and at City Hall?
yes, I did.
And do you have an affidavit as to this notice?
Yes.
Please place the proof of notice and affidavit into evidence as exhibit number 3. And as of this morning's inspection prior to today's hearing, did the violation still exist?
Yes, I checked the computer this morning, and no permit application has been applied for.
And do you have a cost recovery statement detailing the cost incurred in bringing this case before the board?
Yes,
And what is the amount?
$393.27.
Please submit the cost recovery statement into evidence as exhibit number 4. Thank you. Does the board have any questions of Officer Crisco?
I do. Prior to you citing it as not having a permit, was the fence standing? Was the fence blown down?
Was the fence already constructed at your initial
Yes,
inspection?
yes.
So they had to replace the fence.
I don't know that. When I was there on the dead trees, on another complaint, I noticed the fence, which looked new, and I checked the system, and when I talked with the owner, he did tell me it was a new fence and doesn't have a permit. As far as if it was blown down, I don't know. When I was there, the new fence was erected.
And I would like to add that during the post-hurricane timeframe, the city had a waiver of all permit fees for things like fences that may have been affected by the storm. In this case, was created prior to Hurricane Irma. So the cost of a permit would have been waived had the owner come to the city immediately following the hurricane. But the issue here is whether or not a permit was obtained, and one was not applied for at any time since this case was started, which was before the hurricane. And as of today, the fence is standing.
That fence was blown down by the hurricane.
September
It was. It was blown down by the hurricane.
Well, we don't know that.
The hurricane was
It was.
September 10th,
I know that.
and your initial inspection was September 5th.
Yeah, it was before the hurricane, yeah.
The fence was up before the hurricane.
The question is whether or not the owner got a permit
Right.
for the fence at any time since this case was started, and the answer to that question is no. There's no permit in place for the property to have a fence put up before or after the hurricane. If the owner were to come to the city and submit an application for a permit, then the city would inspect that fence, and a permit would be issued, and there would be no code violation.
When you talked to the owner, did you say anything to them about having a permit, or did they indicate that they're going to try to get a permit, or?
Did you talk to the owner about the application for a permit for the fence?
Talked with the owner on October 24th, and again on posting for code board on 12/18th.
But did you talk specifically about a permit
Yes.
for the fence?
Yes.
What did you talk about?
I told the owner he has to get a permit for the new fence. He said he was.
Thank you.
But there's no record of him applying for one.
No, I checked the system this
Ever?
morning.
Ever?
Ever.
Not under that address, no.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, what you want to do, board?
Okay, got it. Okay, let's see. I'm making a motion.
First readings, first.
This is the first reading, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Motion for the initial finding of the fact. I move that the board issue the following finding of the fact in case number 18-04 relating to the defendant, David Hafizeh? The defendant was properly notified of the violation as alleged in the complaint. The defendant is the owner or in possession of the real property located at 5506 Andrea Street in Titusville, Florida. The defendant is in violation of the following provisions of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Titusville. Section 6-56, permit required.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Ed, second by Gina. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Member Monis?
Yes.
Member Ozon?
Yes.
Member Richardson?
Yes.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes. Motion carried. Next question, next case, please.
I move that the board issue is...
Oh, wait a minute, sorry, I forgot.
Oh,
Never
oh.
mind. Go ahead, next motion, please.
Roll call vote.
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's the next
second
motion. I forgot. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm good to go now?
Yeah.
I was going on the next
The
case.
second half, yeah. Motion for the order to correct. I move that the board issue its order to correct relating to the defendant, David Hafizai, adjudging the defendant to be in violation of the code of the section of the Code of Ordinance in the City of Titusville as determined in the finding of the fact, giving the defendant until 12 noon on February the 12th, 2018, to correct
Can
the
you make that 9
violation to
a.m.?
written satisfaction.
What
of
did you
the
say? What time did you say?
9 o'clock.
9
9
a.m.
o'clock.
What-
You
oh,
said 12.
9 a.m.
I didn't change it on here, I'm
all right.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Until, we amend that, until 9 o'clock noon on February the 12th, 2018, to correct the violations to written satisfaction of the code enforcement officer or to appear before the board of the City of Titusville, Florida, on February the 12th, 2018, to show cause why the violation has not been corrected and why this board should not proceed to impose fines for the violation. The defendant is ordered to pay $393.27, which represents the cost incurred by the City of Titusville to bring this case before the board.
All right, motion by Ed, second by
Second.
RL. Any questions?
I'm sorry, second.
Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Member Ozon?
Yes.
Member Richardson?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Beckles?
Yes.
Member Grant?
Yes.
Member Monis?
Yes.
Chairman Bell?
Yes, motion carried. Next case now. Sorry.
What time do you want that to be?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
To be 9, okay.
9 a.m.
For the record, 9 a.m. allows that deadline to be as late as possible on Monday prior to that code board hearing, and then at 9 o'clock, those code officers go out and do their final inspection in the morning of, and then by the time our meeting rolls around at 2 o'clock, all of those, they'll have just a few hours to do those inspections. That's why we do that way. The last case on your agenda, number 18-05, is for the property located at 5486 Andrea Street. The city wishes to withdraw this case due to compliance.
All right. You did well, Chelsea. Thanks. All right, Board Attorney's report.
No report.
Oh, good, thanks.
Good grief.
Chelsea, any city attorney's report?
No report?
Good.
No report.
All right. No report. Okay. Board members report?
I just want to mention that luncheon for Mike Cunningham will be February the 12th.
At what time?
At 11:30 at Kelsey's, and either Megan or I will tell you if it's canceled.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you, sirs.
Questions that I'd like to
Jakes.
see you because
Less than an hour.
sent
I
an
know.
email and
That's record time, Ms.
That's it.
Chairman.
I was looking
Has been
around.
too long.
I went to Kelsey's, I went to.
All right, thank you. I hope y'all having a happy new year. Thanks for being here. And we welcome Mr. Herman here. You'll get the hang of it. You're welcome. Thank you, sirs and ladies.
If we get the hang of it.
Well, I got carried away too, so that's all right. Okay.
I think we beat a record.
Hey, this is great. I know.
I think we beat a record. 3
I think-
o'clock and we're out of here.
After the last two, I'll take it.
Your email came back.
What about Ed's? Did he have an email?
No, his window, I don't know what happened to him.
He didn't read it.